Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Wednesday, January, January 12th, year of our Lord, 2022. And, the same question keeps popping up about these cash apps. And I thought I had reported on it several times, and I did report on it several times. But there's still a lot of questions out there. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Again, it's new, just started in this year, 2022. We won't really see the results until 2023 because you won't need these reports until then. But let's talk about what that is. And there's still a lot of questions. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Okay, so here's the question, right? Here's the question I got, and I guess I can go. Let me see if I can. I did a video, a report on this in October. Did another one in November, but some of these are still getting these YouTubes are still getting questions, and so I got a question yesterday from one. Let's see if we can go here. Okay, well, let's see if we can go here. So this was the report that I did, a little bit different of a thumbnail, and the question came up again. This was yesterday. So, am I understanding that if your account isn't a business account, then the $600 cap in tracking doesn't apply? Now, this is what everybody keeps telling you. When I responded to that question, and I told them, no, that's not how it works. And so today I spent some time going through news reports and IRS records and government records about how it does work, and thought you'd get a very good, clear response. Because here's the question, and it's just, if someone sends me money and it's not for business, well, that doesn't get tracked, right? They won't have to report that. What if everything I do on my Venmo account, none of it's business, and it goes over $600? I won't get a 1099, right? And the answer is, yeah, you will. You'll get a 1099 because that's what it's for. That's the purpose of this reporting, is to find people who won't otherwise report it. And so if all I had to do is say, well, this is in a business account, you won't report it, that would defeat the whole purpose of why they're doing this. And so I tried very hard to find news reports or something that would make it very clear. I don't want to pat myself on the back or anything, but let me go over here one more time. And he did explain it, and he said, finally, someone who has articulated this clearly. Thank you. And the fact is that nobody's really articulating it very clearly. They go around in circles when you ask this question, and they'll tell you things like, it doesn't change any of the tax rules. Well, that's true. It doesn't change the tax rules. Nobody said that it did. But that's, and so anybody tells you that. So here's a story, and this one was from September. So before the law, right? But Cash App won't have new taxes in 2022, despite claims. Again, this says there are no new taxes. Well, that's true. It didn't put a tax on Cash Apps. It simply said that they have to report what you put through the Cash App, so the IRS makes sure that you are paying taxes on that. And I'm gonna go through this again because I think this, and none of this. Okay. With the IRS, the 16th Amendment says that the government can put a tax on income, and here's what the language says: from whatever source no matter where it comes from, it's taxable. But it's always been that case. It's always been taxable, and it's taxable now. So this Cash App rule that we keep hearing about, it doesn't change that. It's still taxable. It was taxable before. It's taxable now. The thing is that the IRS is looking to make sure that you are reporting it all. That's the short, long and short of it all. And so when you ask that question, how is it going to affect me? They go in circles by trying to tell you that it won't affect you. But of course it will if you use these apps. Of course it will, because you're going to get a 1099. And people say, well, attorney, Leahy, what is a 1099? So I wanted to, let me see, I got this. I think this is it. What is this? Requirements for furnishing electronic information. A guide to information returns. So a 1099 is called an information return. It's a return to the IRS from an organization, now Cash Apps, and other third-party vendors, who report this information, what went through your account, to the IRS. So you have to learn to talk this government-ese to understand what they're talking about. But they don't want you to understand what they're talking about. Here, let me also go to this. This is the instructions for a 1099-K. A 1099-K is the information return that you're going to receive if you have more than $600 in total exchanges through you're paid more than $600 with a Cash App. Then you'll get this 1099-K. And so you can read, here's the instructions. This is for the company that's filling it out, and who they have to send it to, and what information they must include in that. And so here's the specific instructions. So let me read this. A payment settlement. Let's put it towards the top of the page here. Specific instructions. A payment settlement entity, that's Cash App, Venmo, must file Form 1099-K, payment card and third-party network transactions, for payments made in settlement of reportable payment transactions for each calendar year. A PSE makes it a payment in settlement of a reportable payment transaction, that is, any payment card or third-party network transaction, if, let's go to the top of the page, if the PSE submits the instruction to transfer funds to the account of a participating payee to settle the reportable payment transaction. Okay, so then that begs the question, what is a reportable payment transaction? So many people are convinced that a reportable payment transaction doesn't include my aunt giving me money, doesn't include my friend paying for dinner, doesn't include me getting money for whatever from anybody, doesn't include that. It's not a reportable payment transaction. Okay, so let's find out what a reportable payment transaction is. Well, where can you find that out, Attorney Leahy? Well, you can find that out with the IRS. How do they define it? Let me see if I can find it here. I have it. Okay, so let's see if this is it. Okay, so what is you receive a? Okay, so here it is. What does my Form 1099 report to me? A Form 1099-K includes the gross amount of all reportable payment transactions. You will receive a Form 1099-K from each payment settlement entity, Venmo, PayPal, the like, from which you received payments in settlement of reportable payment transactions. There's that word again, or that phrase. What is a reportable payment transaction? So they're all telling you, well, that's not a reportable payment transaction, so you're not going to get a 1099-K. Well, here it is. A reportable payment transaction is defined as a payment card transaction or a third-party network transaction. So it doesn't say business, doesn't say for only business purposes, doesn't say that. A payment card transaction, any transaction. Payment card transaction means any transaction in which a payment card or any account number or other identifying data associated with the payment card is accepted as payment. Third-party transaction means, now this third party would be the Cash App, Venmo, because remember, before 2022, now here's the rule before then. This is what they're going to put the rule before then. Third-party network transaction means any transaction that is settled through a third-party payment network, but only after the total amount of such transactions exceeds $20,000 and the aggregate number of such transactions exceeds 200. That was the rule in 2021. So now they have it underneath here. Note, a minimum reporting thresholds of greater than $20,000 and more than 200 transactions apply only to payments settled through a third-party network. There is no threshold for payment card transactions. Okay, so they don't have the new one, right? They don't have. This was last year's rule. Now the rule. Let me see if I can find that. Go to another. You have to go around for here. All this info. The IRS is chocked full of information. I mean, they have the information. If first you have to find it because they have so much information, it's very hard to find. And then you have to interpret it because they talk all in circles. You don't always can figure out what they're talking about. So, okay, so this is consent. So let's see, a guide. Here's the matching 401k payment card. Let me see if I put it up. Okay, so I should have had it up, but I don't have it up. Okay, so anyway, suffice it to say that this is the old rule. The new rule now replaces $20,000 and the aggregate number of transactions exceeds 200 to such transactions exceed $600. Doesn't matter the number of transactions. So Aunt Sally sends me $800, and I think on my other one, I reported, I sell my guitar for $900. Someone sends it to me on my Venmo. They pay me my $900. I'm going to get a 1099-K. Attorney, does that mean I have to pay taxes on that? The answer is no, not necessarily. I might still be able to say that's not a taxable event, but I have to tell the IRS about it because if I don't include it in my see, this is the problem with it. If I don't include it in my tax return and I attach it to my tax return, this 1099-K, because I get the 1099-K and I look, oh, that was for my guitar. That's not really taxable. I bought that guitar for $1,500. I sold it for $900. I lost on that. I didn't really make any money. That's not a taxable event. But here's the thing. How does the IRS know it's not a taxable event? They don't. You have to tell them it's not a taxable event. And now if I don't include it in my tax return and the IRS gets a copy of the 1099-K, and they will, then they will know that you got this $900 and that you did not put it on your tax return. Will the IRS contact you and say, hey, we found out that there was this $900? The answer is probably. Maybe they'll have some limit that says, well, it's got to be more than, but I don't think so because this is all done electronically. Okay, so I have a client now. He sold his house in 2018. When he sold his house, it was a short sale, so he didn't make any money on the house. He didn't get a penny on the sale. He had to do a short sale. And so he moved. The IRS received a 1099-S, similar to a K, but for a different purpose. It's an information reporting form, 1099, but this one's a 1099-S. And the 1099-S is for the sale of real estate. He never received that 1099-S, did not even know one existed, but the IRS got one, and the IRS sent him a notice and said, hey, listen, this is what we found. You didn't report this. This is what you said was your income, but we found this 1099-S that said that there was a transaction of $400,000. And so you owe about $200,000 in taxes. And he responded. They said, if you object, write a letter to this. And he wrote the letter and he objected. And all through his objections, the time passed and they assessed a tax against him for over $200,000. Well, how do you overcome that? Well, you have to go back and amend your tax return and include the 1099-S and then back out anything that I paid for the house and show that there wasn't a taxable event there. But until I do that, the IRS will say that there was a taxable event. It's the same with the 1099 miscellaneous. It's the same with the 1099K. The 1099K. Okay, so this is where I'm saying that people are going to be rudely awakening next year at this time when they start getting these 1099Ks. And they don't think, and so instead they follow these articles like this one that I found, as I mentioned, from the Market Realist. And the Market Realist, this was published in September. People on social media are freaking out over claims that the Biden administration is setting new taxes on payment apps like PayPal, Venmo, and the Cash App. However, those claims are fake news. There isn't any new Cash App tax for 2022. I just explained that to you. No, there isn't a new tax. Nobody's saying that there is. But see how they're fudging this. They're answering a question that you don't have. It's not a new tax, and so they're right. It's not a new tax. So let's continue. The IRS hasn't changed the rules for Cash App yet. Well, this just isn't true. In March of 2021, the American Rescue Plan was passed. And in the American Rescue Plan, the Cash App reporting for 1099K was changed, again, from $20,000 total transactions and 200 transactions, that was the old rule, to $600 transactions. Doesn't matter how many. Any number over $600. Okay, so that was enacted in March of 2021. So when they say it hasn't yet passed, they're talking about the bank statements reporting, not the Cash App, because that did pass, to go to with values at least 600. So they're saying, well, that's false. That didn't happen. Well, they're just misreporting. This reporting requirement is still only a proposal. Again, false. It's already passed. The proposal is an attempt by the government to get a handle on almost $600 billion annually in taxes that should be paid but aren't. The amount U.S. citizens are paying in income taxes is $166 billion less than what we owe. Actually, the IRS will tell you that it might be as high as $1 trillion. They don't know because it's not reported. So everything that they tell you is an estimate, or sometimes people will call an estimate a lie. Anyone under 65 is subject to paying, and I don't want to go into this. Yes, they got to go into. A proposal aims to provide equity in the tax system. Our tax system should be fair, not equitable, in my mind. Okay, we don't want equity in our tax system. We want fairness. That just makes sense. So here, fact about potential taxes on Venmo, Cash. This is still currently a proposal. Nothing has been put into law yet. The proposal would increase reporting on these transactions, but this would not be a new tax. It would not go into effect until 2023. It's not a new tax. I'm not saying that it is, but this is false reporting. It's false. I don't think that they're doing it on purpose, or are they? I don't know, but it's false. So here's another story. Let's blow this up. Here's another story. Use Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App. IRS is watching. Okay. And so this also gives us false information, because I'm just going to go to the bottom and put where I found the most egregious. According to an associate professor, so let's go to the top. so you can see it. Here's the paragraph at the top here. According to an associate professor of accounting at Fowler College of Business at San Diego State University, quoted in Spectrum News 1, the new law does not apply to personal transactions. Dr. Stephen Gill told the news outlet on Saturday that casual money transfers between friends are not included in the reporting. Again, that's just not true. It's not reported. It's not included in your taxes. That's true. But see how they're fudging between whether it's taxable, whether it's reporting, and what does that mean to you as the taxpayer? Okay, if it doesn't appear, if I don't get a 1099-K, I don't care. I can do this. Have my friends and keep doing like I'm doing, and I wouldn't care. But if I do get 1099-K, and I don't take care of it rightly, as I mentioned to you about my client, or I just don't even know that I got one, or I do know and now I have to account for it. It's now made me filing my taxes much more difficult. Okay, and I have to include all these things with my W-2s, with my 1098s, which is interest I received or I paid to my mortgage company, or 1099 miscellaneous, or all of these others that you might get. And now you have to include it in there. And then you have to say, well, this one line I pay taxes on. This line I don't. Maybe I don't pay taxes on any of it. But again, when they say it's only for business, it's true. If it's not a business transaction, it won't be taxable. But how is the IRS to know? They can't. The only way they can know is if you tell them. The purpose of this information reporting, the purpose is to catch income that would not otherwise be reported. And so they're going to ask questions about payments that are not income. Okay. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to catch those that are income and not being reported. You follow me? So anyway, that's the way this works. I get kind of excited about it because I don't understand why this isn't being told, why this story, why it isn't being, maybe they just don't want you to find out till next year. And that's what's going to happen. Because next year you're going to get a 1099-K and you'll think, what is this? They told me this wasn't going to happen, but it did. Right? So again, today I forgot to include my share and like at the beginning. Should have done that. Didn't do it. So again, this is information. Remember, tax news is really the heart of all news. How will they get the money? How does government get money? And how do they spend it? It's all tax news. So please like and share this information to get it out to others. Tomorrow is Thursday. We're going to talk. We'll see what's on the IRS agenda tomorrow. And I don't know what the news will be today. What for tomorrow? We'll find out tomorrow. So thanks so much for joining us. Remember, if you're fighting the IRS, the way to start is to get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problems Today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Okay? And so remember now, this 1099, this was the Crypto Tuesday. This was yesterday. But anyway, this is, remember, this is important stuff. The Cash App. If you have questions, write them in the comments. I'll respond. I respond to all of them. So thanks so much for joining us here today. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.